Hello and welcome to Floor Planner. My name is Bob and I am your success rep here at Floor Planner. And I'd like to continue with our mini series of training videos and share today the presentation feature available when you upgrade a project to level 3. You're looking at my desktop currently, and I've been working on a project, kind of a architectural classic out there, just to use as an example. Mies van der Rohe inspired his project called the Farnsworth House. An absolutely beautiful project. So let's talk about presentations and slideshow presentations. You know that, of course, you're creating a project in Floor Planner and you are generating images, your exports as your PDFs, your JPEGs, and your PNGs. And as you build them based on your projects, I've been doing recently with this project, they will show up in your exports. So we clicked on exports and you can see all the images that I've created for this particular project. And there's a story to tell in here. So I could certainly go ahead and take a copy of these out of the cloud where they're stored now here in our exports on our homepage. We could go ahead and click on any one of these images, just click it once, and you'll see that you get an editor window here on the left-hand side, and you have a feature in there for download. So we could actually download these PDFs, JPEGs, PNG images, take a copy of it from the cloud, and actually save it to the device where you've actually opened your Floor Planner account. I would be saving it on my device today. Now that'd be one way that we could copy some of the images that we've already generated and put out into the cloud and then assemble them in some other manner, possibly a PowerPoint presentation or however you'd care to use it. But there actually is a feature within inside Floor Planner where you can actually put together a presentation and export it as a PDF slideshow. So let's take a peek at how we would do that. So if I go back to our projects for a second, and you will see that these are all of my projects. Of course, this is where you'll create your new project, but here's that project we were just looking at, Mies inspired example. And it is a level 3 project. So I've already upgraded this project to level 3 while I've been working on it. And if I go ahead and click on this project once, just left click once, notice again, we're still getting all these new editor windows over on the left-hand side full of information and full of power as to how you're going to go to the next tasks. Now, if for some reason you already had a level 1 or a level 2 project and you needed to upgrade it to a level 3, you could also, again, do the same exercise. And over here, you'd have the option to go ahead and upgrade it, that specific project, up to a level 3 project. Because in level 3, that's what we're going to show you how to do a slideshow presentation. So now that we've gone ahead and identified it, it already is a level 3 project. And I'm going to go down here to this tab that says PDF presentation. And this is where you start building your slideshow. So if I go ahead and left click on presentation, and kind of an empty page, nice blank canvas to start with. So here we go. The first page, of course, is going to be your cover page, and then we'll have progressive slides thereafter. So let's get started with our cover page. Now, cover pages can have a background and have a background that's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, landscape view. If I want to put an image in the background instead of just having some identification name on it, we could go ahead and actually create a JPEG image, 8.5 by 11, that we could go ahead and insert here. I went ahead and took the liberty to create a JPEG image, and I used PowerPoint for it. A little bit easier if you happen to be good with Photoshop, whatever software you like to utilize to create a nice JPEG image. I'll just show you what I did in PowerPoint. It's kind of cool. So here in PowerPoint, I just opened up a standard landscape view, 8.5 by 11 letter size sheet, and started inserting some images. I had a little actual photograph image I turned into black and white of the exact house. It's an actual photograph of the house. And then some of the documents that I created in Floor Planner, I took a JPEG image. And like I said, like I showed you earlier, that you can go ahead and take a copy and put it on your device. So I inserted the floor plan that I created in Floor Plan as a JPEG image. Again, I'm looking at a PowerPoint slide. And then I had a logo for a company logo, put it here in the center. Now, when you arrange them on this page, be conscious of the fact that this is going to be a JPEG image and you're going to put it into the floor planner PDF slideshow. There is text that will show up to identify your project inside your first cover page. So you want to be cautious as to how you arrange your pieces here. Try to visualize where the center line is across this in the horizontal center line, and then realize that you need to have open space below that center line, which will make sense to you when we go ahead and insert this image. And in PowerPoint wise, I went ahead and just did a save as on this, and I did a save as a JPEG. And then I had that one slide as a JPEG image, which I now have on my desktop ready to use. So that's how I created my background image. So let's go ahead and minimize that for a second. And let's see what we do here. So here we're at presentation again. And here is your first cover page. So I'm going to left click inside this page to activate it. And if you look on your left-hand side, you can say it's the cover page. So here are your cover settings, your page number 1. So we're going to go ahead and put a title in here. So we can type this with all caps. So we can do caps and lowercase. And I'm just going to call this my Farnsworth house, F-A-R-N-S Worth house. Okay, name of your project. Now, there it is. And it will center it for us, which is really cool. Now you can also go ahead and include your creator name. Creator, you are the user on your floor planner account, and it will take the exact as identified in your profile. It'll take your name from your profile. And if you want to go ahead and place in here the date of the creation, we could go ahead and put that in here also. So we have the name of the project, name of the creator, when it was created, and we're going to go ahead and put a background image here. So I showed you how to create that. So we're going to put a JPEG image here. So say upload an image. And my image, let's go down to my desktop. And I have a subfolder out there for Farnsworth House because I started putting some images together, just took some inspiration images because this is, again, going to be a story that we're going to create. So in addition to the images that I was creating through Floor Planner, I grabbed some images off the internet that would be related to be more inspirational images for the project. So here is that JPEG image that we took out of PowerPoint to go ahead and make as my background image. And again, you could use any software to go ahead and create a JPEG. Or not even put one in at all, and you just have that blank title on there. But this is what happens when you go ahead and insert that, because it is still a letter-sized sheet, still landscape. And you can see just by having that vision in your head as to where that text was going to be placed, you can make a nice composition for your cover page. So there is our cover page. We're going to go ahead and save this now. Remember, this is still associated with your project because we went ahead and left-clicked on the project once. We got the editor window on the side, and that's how we got to the presentation. This presentation page, this whole PDF slideshow can be edited, worked on. Just save it, and you're done. So we've got page number 1. That's how you work on your cover page. Now we're going to start adding additional pages to this. So let's add a slide. Okay, so cover page, you're now on page 1. Now, we can make some changes and modifications in here. We're in here on its settings. We can go ahead and change the margins around the page if we cared to, as to how the composition is going to be fitting in the page, this particular image. We can also change the layout. So instead of just having one image in there, you have some preset layout patterns that you can select from. I think they're pretty self-explanatory as to how they're going to break out your page. Let's say we went ahead and created a format in here as something like this one. So we got 3 different blocks in here. Now there's a few different things that we can add to here. So we could go ahead and add an image here from our exports, which are the floor planner exports, the PDFs, the JPEGs, PNG images. You could actually select from the furniture or assets that are utilized inside your model, they can actually be selected. Those images are associated with them, and you can actually place an image of the specific piece of furniture in this block. And or you could upload your own JPEG PNG image into here, an inspiration image or something, another piece that you want to tell about your story. So let's go ahead and start loading some images just to get a little bit more comfortable with this. So let's say that we wanted to go ahead and add one of the pieces of furniture from that model that we created. Say, let's look at product or even a texture, material that we've already put into the model. Floor Planner's identified every piece that I've put together inside that 3D model for us. So these are the associated images of those pieces I already have them in my model. And let's start with a classic. Let's go with the Barcelona chair that's already in my model. And there it is. That's simple. Now we can have some adjustments in here. If you want to go ahead and fit this horizontally, fit it vertically, cover the entire page, or contain it within the page. Right now I'm going to take it so it's contained, so all the information and the entire image is showcasing in our image. Now let's go down here and let's add another piece of furniture. So let's go ahead and say choose a product or texture. And we'll go ahead and pick something like the little side table. And there it is. And again, you can fit to contain, fit it vertically, fit it horizontally. I'm going to go for containing it right now. Now over here, maybe we want to go ahead and take one of the 3D images, maybe something where the Barcelona chair is actually inside my model. So let's look at something, instead of putting product and texture, product or a texture, we could go ahead and say, let's choose from the exports. And what's awesome about this, it goes right to your export library inside Floor Planner in the cloud, and only the images that are associated with this particular project. So we could start talking about this as a story with its floor plan, or if we just bypass that and say, well, let's go ahead and showcase, where we're actually showing those Barcelona chairs. Here's one of the images. Actually, this one's a little nicer, I think. Okay. And there it is. And we could select that again to contain, or vertical, or horizontal, or cover. And again, puts together a page pretty quickly. Again, we can save that. That's your slide number 1. Now, if I want to go back to the presentation settings for a second, because you probably already saw this little disclaimer down here at the bottom. So let's back up, go up here to the presentation settings. Now in presentation settings, this is for every slide after the cover page. So this is where you can make some modifications as to how the margins are going to be set on your pages. You can also talk about there being a title on every page that you can go ahead and change out, that this title for this specific page may be a furniture plan or whatever terminology you want to put in there. You can change the font size. You can change its location. It's right now I'm showing it on the bottom left. You could change this out to be on the bottom right, top right, etc. And you can change the margins as to how it's being nudged up and down and left and right. The pagination is actually the page number, which I have showing in the bottom right currently. Again, you have the ability to modify as to where you're going to place that number. And you can also go ahead and change its color, and you can play with its margin. Now that disclaimer that I showed you at the very beginning is that here is where you can actually enter your own disclaimer that will show up on every one of your slides, and the font for that and the color for that and the location again and its margin. So this is how you're going to set up your slide beyond the cover page, what the standard layout will be for that page. So let's go back to our actual presentation. Okay, and that was slide number 1. And as you can see, there it is down here in the lower left-hand corner. Let's click on that again. And if we wanted to go ahead and title this page, I certainly could type up here and say living room. And there it is. Now I might want to go ahead and reconsider and say where I'm going to place that title. I might want to go ahead and place that on the lower right, but those are decisions that you can make later. We're going to hit save on that. And let's go ahead and add another slide. So now we've gone 1, 2, and 3. Select the slide, and let's go ahead and maybe we'll put the entire floor plan in here. So let's go ahead and say we're going to go ahead and choose an export. And there's an entire floor plan. And we can contain to fit. Very nice. Now, if I was to play with the margins a little bit, you can see that we can actually make some adjustments over here on the left-hand side to tweak how exactly you want this page to be fitting, and just tease with that a little bit. So then if we want to go ahead and maybe add another slide, and maybe we're going to change the format on this, go back to the layout options over here on the left-hand side and go ahead and select something a little more elaborate. And maybe we're going to put some of the materials in here. I'm not sure how many materials I have in this project. Let's see what we got. Go for project and texture. And let's see if we can find anything else that I have placed in here in materials, upper left-hand corner, texture. And not a whole lot of textures I put in here. There's one floor pattern I have all throughout the room. So here's one of them. Marble beige, and it has its title up there, and might as well show the exterior ivy. It's not much, but if you had multiple materials, obviously you could have more fun with this. Okay, got a little ivy out there. Let's go out here for maybe one of the products again, and maybe one of the exterior chairs, and also do another product texture. Actually, probably one of the products. Let's pick maybe one of the accessories from outside, the elephant sculpture. Cool. Now we could go ahead and make a decision to go ahead and put an image in here. Now, you don't necessarily have to, keep utilizing your own. If you have some inspiration images, and again, I have a subfolder here on my desktop that we could actually load an image instead. If we go for load an image, we're going to go ahead and look on our desktop, and I have something called the Farnsworth House. I made a subfolder out there, and I could pick a picture of Mies van der Rohe or something a little bit more inspirational about maybe how he did his designs for his structures. Here was an image. Give a little bit of character to it. And we could fit to contain. Kind of his language as to how he grouped and placed his walls and his design. Maybe add another slide. And maybe show, upload another image. Again, just showing that you can grab any sort of JPEG image that's out there, and maybe we just pay tribute to Mies van der Rohe. And let's fit to contain. So we've got our story. Hit save in here. And I can select this slide here. And all of your slides are together at this point. And we have gone ahead and hit save. At this point, we could go ahead and close out our slide settings. And we are just about ready to go. We could go ahead at this point, if we're happy with the presentation that we put together, or we could work on it later. We just say generate a PDF. And it's generating here in my lower left-hand corner. And we could go ahead and double click that and open up my PDF slideshow. And there you go. So it's all packaged as you wanted to customize it in the order that you wanted to show it. So now we've created the PDF, and we could just drag that right onto our desktop. Let's go back over here and say, we've downloaded it, looks good. Close out our settings here. Now, if you want to continue working on that slideshow, you can start it at any point. Now we could still go back to it. Here's your project. we can still continue working on our project if we care to and have more images created. So again, left click on this once as we did. Here is your editor window on the left hand side. Go back to presentation. It's still there waiting for you, and it's ready to pick up where you left off. So we can go ahead and hop in here and go ahead and add another slide. Remember to save it when you're complete, and you're good to go. So I hope that gives you some insight. This is one of the features that's available to you when you upgrade your project to a level 3. So this will be your level 3 presentation PDF slideshow. Hope you enjoy creating some new imagery. Have a great day.